Hey guys, in this video I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process on how to set up your Roku player. So for the example in this video, I'm using the Roku SE, but this should also work if you're using a Roku Express or a Roku Premier, for instance. And right out of the box, what you're going to be looking for is the Roku player itself. And the Roku SE also comes with double-sided tape so that you can tape it to the side or the top of your TV. And then also the Roku remote, some batteries to power the remote, an HDMI cord and a power cord, and then the setup guide. And for the power cord on the Roku SE, they're actually using a USB cord, and a lot of modern TVs are going to have USB in the back of them. I'll show you how to hook it up in that instance. But if that's not going to work for you, you might also need a separate wall adapter, one of these types of things that plugs into the wall and has a USB on the other side. This is my phone wall adapter, but it doesn't come with a wall adapter, so hopefully it's a situation where it's going to work where we can connect it to the back of the television that you have. But if not, you're going to need that wall adapter. So I'm going to take you through this 6-step guide here in the instruction manual. So step number 1 is going to be connecting the Roku player to the TV using the HDMI cord. Alright guys, so oftentimes your HDMI port is going to be located on the back of your TV, but sometimes it can be on the bottom part or on the side. It just depends on what kind of TV you have. And also make note, potentially these HDMI ports will be labeled. So I'm going to be using HDMI 1 as my input, so then when I go over to my TV, I know what source that I'll be looking for. So taking one end of the HDMI cord and plugging it into the back, and then the other end is going to go into the HDMI port that is on the back of your Roku player. And step number 2 is going to be powering up your Roku. So this is the power cord that we have. Now, like I said, a lot of modern TVs are going to have USB ports on the back. So what we're going to do here, in my situation, the USB port is actually right above the HDMI ports. So plugging that in to that side, and then the other side, I'm going to plug in to the back of the Roku player. And at this point, I'm also going to take off this protective tape layer. And also make sure that your TV is powered on, and then take a look at your Roku player. And if the USB port is giving enough power to your device, you'll see just this regular light on the front of it. But if it's not getting enough power, then it'll be a red light. And if that is the instance in your case, then you're going to have to take this USB and put it into a wall adapter, which you'll have to buy separately. And then the other end will be plugged in to a wall outlet. And you might not even have a USB port on your TV, and if that's the case, you're also going to have to do a wall adapter to plug it into the wall and then adapt it to the USB cable to power up your Roku. And then step number 3 is deciding where you want to put your Roku player, and the Roku SE comes with this double-sided tape so that you can stick it either to the side of your TV or the top or wherever you'd want to put it. They do recommend not sticking it behind your TV, as well as not having the Roku player in a TV cabinet, for instance. And the 2 reasons for this is the internet reception might not be quite as good, and then also it could potentially overheat if it's in a situation where it's not getting as much airflow. Step number 4 is going to be putting your TV over to the proper input. So I have this in HDMI 1, so that's the input that I'm going to change my TV to. So now over on your TV, you're going to want to change the input to HDMI 1. Take out your TV remote, and you're going to be looking for a button on your remote that says something like source or input, or it might just say HDMI on it. Whatever button it is, you're going to cycle through until you get to that HDMI 1 input. And step number 5 is going to be taking your new Roku remote and the batteries that come with it and putting them into the back of the remote. And then step number 6 is going to be going through the on-screen setup and activation. So with the Roku remote, we're going to click the OK button where it says whatever language that you want to set this up in. So for me, it's going to be English. And then it's going to scan for wireless routers in your general vicinity. Find the name of your particular wireless router. So for me, it's going to be X522, and click OK on that. And then enter in your wireless router password and then click connect. So once you have that password typed in, again, go ahead and click connect. And then it's going to check the wireless connection. It's going to check for an internet connection after that. And then it's going to update your Roku software to the latest software that's available. So we're going to click OK on that. And then once it reboots, it's taking me over to the set display type. So I'm going to click Auto Detect Display Type. And then once it sets up the display type, clicking OK And then it's asking if you want to keep the current display type or not, and it looks good for me, so I'm going to go ahead and click yes. Screen looks good. And then that takes us to the Activate Your Roku Player page. If this is your first time using Roku, it's going to give you an activation link after you enter in your email address. So clicking OK on enter your email address, and then go ahead and type in your email address here and then click continue. Alright guys, so after you enter in the email that you want for your Roku account, then Roku is going to send you over an activation email. Now for me, it popped into my inbox, but if it doesn't show up in your inbox, check your junk folder, your clutter folder, things such as that. But the email should look something like this, and then go ahead and click where it says Roku device activation link. And since I already have a Roku account, it's going to be a little bit different for me than if you're going ahead and activating a device for the first time. But in my instance, it's going to ask me for my device name and then also the location of the device. And for me, this is going to be living room. And then you can go ahead and read over the end user license agreement, check that box, and then click continue. And then it's going to go ahead and ask me some different questions here. So do you pay for cable or satellite TV? And for me, that's going to be no. Do you currently have subscriptions to any of these services? I have Hulu, and out of all these, that's going to be it. So then I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And then it's going to ask what your interests are. So I like free movies and TV. And let's go ahead and put in sports, news, and weather. And then I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And then it says add more channels to your Roku home screen. They're free to install, so it'll give you some other options based on your interests. And then after you do that, go ahead and click continue. And then it has some different offers here. I'm not interested in any of them, so scrolling down to the bottom and going ahead and click continue. And then it says setup complete. And then your device is going to download all of the different applications that you wanted it to download, and then it takes you to the page that says all done. And then just click on the little right arrow button on your remote, and it's going to take you over to your Roku home screen that has all of the different applications that you had your Roku player install. And at this point, if you wanted to add additional applications, just go down to the option that says streaming channels, and you can look them up in this area. And then also you can just simply search for different applications or TV shows, movies, things such as that in this area. And going back to our home page, if you want to move these tiles around, let's say I wanted YouTube to be in the first spot, on your Roku remote, click on the little asterisk button. That'll open up the settings for that particular application, and then click Move Channel. Move it to where you want, click OK on your remote, and then it will lock it into that position. And that's going to wrap this one up. I hope this video was helpful. Down in the description, I'll put a link to the Roku homepage and the Roku help page if you need some more information potentially from the Roku website. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Consider subscribing, and I'll catch you back here next time.